There's a guy here called Jamie. Do you know him?
Jamie?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So he was talking to us and then he left. He had some questions.
Is it?
So that's what we were talking about.
Was it the tall guy?
He's quite tall. He has a
Yeah.
brown jacket.
Yeah, well, he declined.
He declined.
He declined to have a discussion.
With you?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So he left. He's talking about the brother who declined to have a discussion with us.
He was asking me some questions.
The same with the
Yeah,
brother.
he was asking me some questions why I left Islam. So that's what I was talking
Oh,
about.
right, I see. Oh, even better then. We can continue. Oh, don't worry about this.
Well, yeah,
Tea.
we getting into the conversation.
There's tea.
He left already.
No, he's gone. He's
Oh,
gone.
is it gone?
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Actually, yes, because that is one thing I also wanted to know.
Yeah.
Exactly what it was.
We can, but we never finished.
I know.
He was here. You were here.
Yeah, of course he was here.
We were talking about
together.
objective morality, and we kind of got
Yes,
interrupted,
and then we.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
if you want.
No. I was interested because you said you are.
I left you.
You are either atheist or agnostic or in between.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea
Yeah.
because I don't know if God exists. Yeah.
Okay.
Which for the layman it means I'm agnostic. But if you actually look at the definition of agnostic, right?
Yeah.
From what I read,
Yes.
it is someone who actually has a belief that God is unknown, or the existence of God is unknown or is unknowable. So an agnostic is actually a person who has a position on he believes that God cannot be known or is unknown.
Right.
His existence. That's a pretty strong position. It doesn't sound agnostic to me.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the definition of atheist,
Yeah.
one is that he believes that God doesn't exist. That's also a strong position. But the other one is that he lacks belief in the position of God.
Yeah.
So that branch of it is where I fall in.
Right.
But people would recognize it as an agnostic, but it's technically an atheist. Do you see what I mean?
I understand. Yeah. But the important question that I had raised that day was, what led you to this position?
There were multiple doubts I had.
Let's go for it,
Well,
if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. One of them we were talking about was the morality issue. So if you
Okay.
want, we can
Right.
readdress that one.
No problem, inshallah.
So I think a couple of weeks ago I was saying that we were actually talking to a vegan person,
Yeah.
and the issue with him is he can't really say where his morality comes from objectively.
Okay.
So he can't say why killing animals is truly wrong.
Yeah.
And what I was saying that it's possible that objective morality exists, and we're in the process of uncovering it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I said a couple of
Yes,
weeks ago.
correct.
And you said, I think your point was that it kind of gets mixed up and confused because once we bring the law into it and try to administer society through it, sometimes the law goes against the objective morality that I'm saying must exist.
Okay.
Right? You were talking about the race riots, and that the law sometimes went against the morality.
Oh, the Race
Discriminate.
Relations Act.
Yeah. But I think that point is. That guy's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah. I think for me the point is that when you talk about the law, I think it's a slightly separate issue.
Yeah.
Human beings are fallible, and they're trying to refine a system where they're taking an objective morality as their source.
Yeah.
So I agree with you that the law might do things against a morality that we have.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can say that because of that reason that shows that there is no objective morality as an atheist or as an unbeliever. I would say that it shows that we have a non-perfect system, judicial system or a law.
Okay.
But I would say that it's trying to it's using a source as an objective morality, a morality.
Yeah.
But what I would concede is that I don't know where objective morality comes from, but I have to accept that there is an objective morality.
Okay.
Otherwise, society can't really function universally.
Right. But if we are going to go on the basis of having to accept in absence of evidence,
Yes.
what would you call that?
I agree with you. It's very shaky ground to stand on, but there is some, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
There is some evidence to suggest that there is an objective morality at play in life, in civilization.
Well, agreed. If we take it on that or from that perspective, then we've also got to make the admission that there is a point of origin for it.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to
Okay.
agree that there may be a God who administered it.
Yeah. if we are going to suggest that there is a point of origin,
Yeah.
then we are back to that same question: what is that point of origin?
Yeah.
Now, if I were to, part of the conversation we're having, I was saying that look, the legal aspect, if we consider it, one of the offenses in times gone by was a moral crime, that of adultery. Okay? But then the rules changed depending on how society was developing,
Right.
for want of a better word. Yeah? So it was deemed to be decriminalized.
Right.
Yeah? The act itself of adultery. However, the remnants of that particular law are still present in the civil element of the system, the legal system in the UK. Yeah?
Right.
In there, it gives you 5 reasons for why you can get divorced.
Yeah.
Legitimate legal reasons, they call them. And one of them is adultery. The question is why?
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. Now, our view is very simple here. Yeah, as human beings, does our sense of, let's say, innate sense, does it tell us that there are certain things which we automatically will find reprehensible? The answer is a yes.
Yeah.
There is. But what is it? If we look at it from an evolutionary perspective, because that is the counter narrative, as opposed to creationism.
Okay.
Yeah? If we look at it from that perspective, it doesn't make sense.
Yes. Yeah.
It just does not make sense.
I agree with
Because look, if the very objective of this whole process was self-preservation, then the very idea of morality should be thrown out of the window.
I agree with you.
The very idea of ethics should be thrown out of the window.
Yeah.
But as the gentleman was saying earlier on, we then have to accept a position where we are enlightened, in inverted commas. Yeah?
I don't. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah? Enlightened. In what way is that meant? Well, we have the ability to be able to reason all this out. We have the ability to discern between what we consider to be good and what we consider to be bad. But that is on an individual basis. If enough individuals collectively agree to a particular thing being wrong, does that inherently make it wrong?
No.
Why not?
Well, because you can go back to Germany and you know the example.
Yes.
But that was his reasoning. But I think I don't think morality comes from evolution. I don't think there's either natural or creation reason for it. Well, I think it's either exists or God created it.
Right.
That I understand. But
Yes.
what I want to say is that I think morality, first of all, what we're talking about is something on the fringe of science, right? Science can't really. We haven't investigated this. There's a few things we haven't investigated.
Yes.
Morality is one of them that science can't really get a handle on.
Yeah.
So we're kind of speculating on something we don't have much
Information
about. But what I would say is that I don't think it's evolution morality has anything to do with evolution or the civilization of humans or a democratic position. I would say that there is an objective morality that exists in the universe, which is quite mysterious, right? Now you can say it's God created it, but what I would say is that if we're not taking God's, we're basically in the process of uncovering it. But I'm not saying that it comes from civilization, and I'm not saying it relies on a democratic consensus to shift it. I'm saying it's something that we haven't really truly understood what it is. I'm saying it's possible that it's changed.
Yeah.
It could be because we are collectively, you could say, realizing that there is an underlying morality, and that's what's uncovering the objective morality in
Yeah.
existence. What I would concede is I don't know where it comes from.
Yes.
I don't think it's probably not from evolution. It could be from God, but I think I can still. You can say it's shaky ground to believe in something you don't know, where you don't know what the source is.
Yeah.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you, but
Yeah.
it's a prerequisite.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, there's some prerequisites we take just generally. I mean, we both probably agree that we are not in a dream or in the Matrix or living in a computer game.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So I'm taking morality as a prerequisite. A religious person would take a prerequisite that God is not deceiving them, that it's not all some elaborate trick to see if you fall for it. It's a prerequisite you're taking without some rationale or evidence, right?
Yeah.
So I would say.
Sorry. How did you work out it's without rational evidence? On what basis did you establish that?
Well, what I mean is, if the reason we don't believe that we're in the Matrix or in a computer game.
The issue of belief has to be preceded by the necessary information to establish whether it is a belief or not.
Yeah, but
which one is it?
Well, I mean, if you look at if I ask you why do you not believe why do you believe existence is real?
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Right. Number one, the first thing I always say, and you'll hear me say it, the word belief, yes, I'm very skeptical about.
Okay.
Because my view is, if evidence is available, assess the evidence and formulate a conclusion thereafter.
Yeah.
If you do that, then what you are dealing with is not belief, you are dealing with certainty.
Right.
To the extent that the evidence allows you to be certain.
Agreed.
No problem.
Yeah.
So the word belief then doesn't necessarily have to come into the equation. However, if I were to say, right, okay, you know what? I have got enough circumstantial evidence, yes, to the extent that it allows me to consider all of that evidence together as primary evidence. Then again, I would suggest that this is constituting evidence as a result of which my conclusion was formulated based on the evidence, and so I can consider it to be certain. If there is certainty, then the belief element is dispensed with. So now, if I were to take the example you just gave, are we in a vat? Are we in the Matrix?
Right.
Okay? These are necessary questions which have only arisen as a result of our understanding of certain kinds of sciences, which we have developed, to be able to ask the question. However, if I were to say, right, okay, I'm touching this, I'm speaking to you, okay? But I'm actually in a program without realizing that this program is working for me to be able to say what I'm saying to you and you conversing with me. But then my question is this. If I were to think like that, then the very basis again of ethics, morality, etc. goes out of the window. Why? Because I can turn around and say, right, you know what, I'm going to do X. You will turn around and tell me, wait a minute, what are you doing? That's not right. And I say, don't worry about it. The program makers of this program we are in have allowed me to do this. It's a valid stance, isn't it?
Wait, so you're accepting that you're in a dream and you can, or a computer program and you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, if I were to say to you, well, actually, no, the program itself has allowed this to happen, then you are going to have to agree with me. There's no morality, there's no ethics, there's nothing.
Well, or it's just part of the program, you mean?
Or even better, if we say it is part of the program, then there is a reason for why the programmer has programmed it that way. Now, the moment you use the word reason and ascribe it to something other than what is the natural world, what would that be? In any one form or another, we would call it a creator. So, if I take that position, whoever I'm talking to is going to have to agree with me that, look, the moment we ascribe a programmer then we are saying there's a creator. The words that we use can be different, but there is a creator. The problem then therefore arises is this, that whatever this programmer is, and this is the conversation we were having 2 weeks ago, that whatever the programmer is of this program, yes, is necessarily superior to the program. It's logical. And if that be the case, then again we come back to that ultimate issue. Did the programmer communicate? Is it part of the program for the programmer to communicate with the program? What would the answer be?
I mean, is it necessary?
That's the second question. First we have to establish whether it took place or not, and then we can answer whether it was necessary or not.
Right. You're asking, has the creator sent a message, communicated with his creation?
Like I said, logic is telling me that if I even use this example of a program, it necessitates a programmer.
Right.
Part of the program, the program that we are talking about, was the program also included a communication from the programmer to the program?
Okay.
Now, you know what it is going to break down?
Right.
Because if you are talking about a program, then the very idea of sentience that we had been discussing about life itself, is going to have to be addressed. Is the program made so that we think we are alive?
Right.
Well, even that needs an answer. The fact is that we are asking the question within the program.
Right.
And if we are asking the question, then there is an answer. And the only thing that can give the answer is the program. So either way, we are coming straight back, even if we use the example of a program. However, we know as we are talking, whether there's a program or not, we do know and we do accept that there are things that we consider to be ethical, that we consider to be moral, that we consider to be immoral, that we consider to be unethical. Well, where did that come from? So we are back. Whichever way you look at it now, this is the thing I impress. As I said the previous time also, I said, look, logic is clearly telling us if we applied it appropriately, logic will tell us that, look, anything that is natural, I cannot ascribe any kind of power that we would consider to be ultimate power. I can't. Anything, look, a tree, it's impossible for me to grow as tall as a tree, but I have got the facilities and the necessary technology to destroy it. Whatever I'm seeing, if anything comes in front of me and says, right, I'm the one who is the superior one, who has done everything, I'm going to have difficulty. Why? Because whatever superiority you are showing is limited. Are you following?
As human beings, I agree with you.
As human beings, animal kingdom? Is there anything that you can think of in the naturalistic? There isn't, is there?
No, nothing.
There can't be. So now logic is telling me that even if I view it as a program, there's a programmer. Unless we are going to start this, and as far as I'm concerned, this silly notion that the program suddenly came on its own.
Right, it doesn't.
It's illogical.
It still comes back to the same problem.
It comes back to the same problem. Now, the issue is this, that if I am now in a situation where what I would consider to be naturalistic direct evidence, because we are talking about the programmer now, naturalistic evidence cannot be used to establish the existence of the programmer. What evidence then are we going to use?
I don't know, it's unnatural.
That's how we would look. But I would suggest this, that for us to be able to establish whether we are merely a program which requires a programmer,
Yeah.
or it is merely a program that is running on its own, suddenly appeared from somewhere,
Right.
we automatically find it unreasonable.
Yeah.
So let's work on the premise that there is a programmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question is this: if there is a programmer, and our rational view has led us to this question, then the very next question is, okay, is there any form of exchange?
Well, and also, who created that programmer still have a first cause.
Now,
Yeah.
look at this. You see, for us to be able to answer that question, we would need the answer to come from the Creator.
Yeah.
We can't answer it ourselves.
Yeah.
Now the question therefore arises is this: if a message or some form of communication between the two parties took place,
Yeah.
how do we know?
I don't know. How would you know?
Okay, that's a question. Second question is, about establishing whether there be a program or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said we look at the natural world, okay, and my logic has already told me that I can't expect this particular programmer, this creator, call it what you want, to be part and parcel of what has been created. Illogical it would be. But then the issue now is this: for me to answer the question which we just agreed to that we don't know, how can we answer that question? Yeah? About whether a communication took place or not. Yeah, we can't answer it. Now, can we work on a premise here that look, there are potential claimants to this communication having taken place, and are we willing to consider these particular claimants?
Yeah.
Logically, that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, this is not going to rely on what my father said and my mother said or my friend said or my wife said. Yeah? It is incumbent on us to establish whether it happened or not. Yeah? Now, we are rational human beings. We are reasonable.
Yeah.
You will note that we will seek evidence for everything except that, for some odd reason. If somebody just came and said, do you know what? Around this corner, as an example, somebody just ran here and told us, you know what, Kashif, Shabir, somebody is running around, causing havoc on the back of that building, yeah? And he's having a smile on his face while he's saying it. Instinctively we'll think, I think he's joking. Why is he smiling with such a serious matter?
Right.
Yeah? But he might just be like that. He smiles while he's saying something. He might just be. Yeah? Now, if we suddenly realize that our families were actually shopping there, what would we do?
We would check, just in case we would still check.
If we check, isn't that what we are doing? We are seeking evidence to establish a certain concern and allay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you're afraid your family might get hurt.
Because we have got a certain self-interest in it.
Right. Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah? Now, we will, without realizing it, this is what we do, Kashif, as human beings, we will seek evidence for everything.
Yeah.
But in certain respects, we will dismiss it outright, like the existence of a creator.
Okay.
Why do we dismiss it?
I mean, it depends on the person. If you're asking me,
Yeah.
everyone has different reasons.
Yeah, of course I'm asking you. Everybody may have different reasons. But generally speaking, why is it that we will not seek the necessary evidence if we do that in everything else in our life? Is it possibly because everything in our life is visually present? Not absolutely everything, obviously. Yeah? Because then we come to the mind and then we get problems. But is it because of that?
I think partially, and also I think it depends on what you're believing. And
Sorry, the word belief must be excluded for the purpose
really,
of evidence.
it's very hard because you know how I'm not using it
I
in
know.
a.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I'm using it as a layman.
Yeah. Okay. No worries.
habit.
Kashif. Yeah. I understand.
I think the claim that there is an a creator is a unique one. The other claims, visual ones, are much easier to.
Right.
believe.
So are we suggesting here? Sorry, Kashif. Are we suggesting that we are basing this on this statement that was made by one of the scientists where he said extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Who said the existence of a creator is an extraordinary claim?
Well, it's extraordinary by its nature if you know specifically who that creator is.
Wait a minute. If you know who the creator is, then the question doesn't arise, does it?
What do you mean?
Well, like you said.
You mean I skipped a question?
No, if it's an extraordinary claim. I asked, who said that, the existence of the creator is an extraordinary claim?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, I don't know who said it.
No, a scientist had said it.
Okay.
But you agreed with it.
Yeah, it sounds reasonable.
Why?
Well, because the creator is a unique claim. I mean, it's outside.
Right.
We can't use our current scientific methods to find it, so we're going to have to use.
I'm so glad you are saying that, because you are right. If you are saying that the creator is a unique whatever, how did you know?
How do I know the claim that the creator
is unique and etc. Yeah.
Well, because it's something that's outside of most of the things that we rely on or we take as evidence.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But Kashif, if I was to agree with you, then I would necessarily have to also agree, as we said a few minutes ago, that not everything that we can discern has to do with us being able to visually attest to it.
Of course. Yeah.
So the possibility is there.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Not only that, but if we were to find the necessary information which tells us about this extraordinary individual or being, or call it what you want, then how is it extraordinary? If there was an absence of evidence, then I would agree that it is an extraordinary claim. But if evidence is available, whether that evidence has been assessed or not is a secondary issue. But if the evidence is already available, how can it be an extraordinary claim?
I'm a bit confused because
the
claim is... It's an extraordinary claim because it's something unique that's above scientific methods, most scientific methods that we use every day. It's above most claims that we make.
Okay, sorry Kashif, if I follow what you are saying, if we establish that we possess a mind, is that an extraordinary claim?
That we possess a mind?
Yes.
I think it's a unique. It's a different in its uniqueness because the fact that I exist and have a mind.
Yes.
Is kind of.
No, we haven't established we have a mind.
Right.
We are working on an assumption that there is a mind, in absence of the evidence to establish it.
Right, but I think it's a unique one, a unique claim because it's kind of it kind of makes sense that it's connected to the claim that I exist.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
And even if nothing here is real or exists, and I'm in a vat or I'm in a game or I'm in a dream, there's still someone having that dream, or there's still some consciousness, some existence. So it's a unique claim in that sense that yes, I exist because there's someone having this experience. It may be a delusion, but it's still an experience. So I would say that's why I don't think it's too extraordinary to accept that claim, the claim that I exist. The claim that you exist is a completely different one, and that one would be an extraordinary one in a way.
It is. It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But suddenly we are realizing that there are many extraordinary things that we need to establish.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I take it a bit further and ask myself this, I would suggest that it is an extraordinary claim to make that there is an absence of a creator.
Okay.
Would that make sense? Because then, logically, the extraordinary lack of evidence for one, I mean, it doesn't make sense. You can't say it's an extraordinary claim, but there is no evidence to substantiate the claim.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah.
So, the atheistic position is illogical.
Well,
how did I work that one out?
That's where I lost you, yeah.
Okay. Look, if we were to say extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Yeah.
The suggestion is being made that if there is a creator, then you require extraordinary evidence to establish the existence of a creator.
Yeah.
I in turn said, why is it extraordinary?
Yeah.
If there is an absence of evidence, it's extraordinary.
Okay.
If evidence is available which has not been assessed,
Yeah.
is it extraordinary?
I think it's semantics, no? I mean,
Is it really?
I mean, if I say there's something exists,
Yeah.
and I make a claim about something crazy, or something that's not in the purview of science, or something that's
Is it crazy for me? Is it
Sorry,
crazy?
I don't mean crazy.
I know, I know.
You would ask.
Is it? Yeah, sure.
You would ask me, where's your evidence? And so far, up to this point, you would say, you would have a heightened. You would require some extraordinary evidence if I'm telling you something exists that's kind of beyond what you're used to. Would you not have a?
I would. You know what? I wouldn't say, okay, then you are going to have to provide extraordinary evidence. I wouldn't say that, would I? Logically speaking, I would only say, okay, what evidence do you have?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't say it, but there
So
was,
why is, if I
I think you would think it though, wouldn't you?
why would I think it? To me, any claim that is made is extraordinary in its first instance.
Well, no. For example,
Yeah.
if I tell you that there's another building being made just around the corner, that's
Yeah.
not an extraordinary claim. I mean, you would not ask for too much evidence. It doesn't affect your life.
How do you know?
Generally, I would say.
Right. You see now, we are going on a general level here. Generally speaking, when somebody makes a claim, yes, for example, I say, do you know what, Kashif? I have found an amazing kind of tree which doesn't grow like a normal tree.
Right.
Would you say to me, well, I'm going to require amazing evidence for it? We wouldn't.
I wouldn't say that.
We would
but
normally
I would have
say,
slightly
wait
more-
a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. We would say, okay, what is this tree made of? How is it made? We would ask a series of rational questions.
Yes.
We won't ask for evidence. We'll try and understand the situation first. And you know what will happen? Logically speaking, we'll come to a situation where we will think to ourselves, you know, this guy is talking a lot of nonsense.
Right.
And we won't seek any evidence further.
Right.
The rational.
He could be right. Yeah.
But then the problem is, look,
Yeah.
if he's insisting, you
No,
then.
I mean, if his evidence is convincing, then it does exist.
Now you see, if we ask those series of rational questions,
Yes.
we aren't seeking evidence as such. We are first trying to rationalize what he is saying. And then if it's not making sense,
Yeah.
we will then ask for evidence.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay.
Now what I am saying is that, look, if in everything we can see, yes,
Yeah.
and we take this idea of a computer program
Right.
necessitating a program,
Yeah.
I'm saying from that angle, the most illogical position one can hold is that of atheism. It's not a logical position to hold. Why? Because if you are looking at evidence, then one thing you have to understand is there are different forms of evidence. Yeah? Unless and until you have discounted all those forms of evidence, having duly assessed them logically, rationally and reasonably, you are not in a position to suggest that you hold a logical position by denying the existence of something.
I think you're making an assumption because.
Of course I am.
I think it's really interesting because if you look up the definition of atheist, there's one that says he does belief that God doesn't exist, but the other one is a lack of belief in God. So
Yeah.
if you take the position of a lack of belief, it just
Yeah.
means someone who you could say has not assessed all of the evidence.
Thank you, you're agreeing with me.
Yeah, so in that sense, I would agree with you. Yeah.
But then the
isn't
que-
that a logical situation to be in? That person is not saying that you're wrong. That you're wrong about your claim.
Now, you know what? What you just said
Yeah.
sounds as though it makes sense. And I agree. Take it one step further. Atheism, the definition is
Yeah.
a lack of belief in a god or gods. That's what the position is. Yeah?
Okay. I mean, I think that's one definition.
Yeah, it is one definition. This is the most common one.
Okay.
Yeah? As you rightly pointed out, they may not have looked at all the evidence available.
Yeah.
Okay. I come to you and I tell you, Kashif, you know what? I'm a robot.
Right.
Yeah? And you say to me, really?
Yeah.
Do you know what a robot is? And I say, no, I don't really know what a robot is.
Right.
Yeah. The first thing you are thinking is your smile said, you don't know what you are talking about, yeah?
Right.
Because I'm telling you now, I'm a robot.
Yeah.
You ask me what makes it, and I say, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I say to you, I hold a logical position, don't I? What would you say?
I would say it's illogical.
You would say it's logical
I
or
would say it's
illogical.
illogical, yeah.
Why?
Because you're claiming you are something which you don't understand or don't know.
What is the claim of atheism?
That you have lack of belief in God or books.
If you have not considered all the available evidence, what are you, logical?
Well, I would say it's still logical. I mean,
Still, you still consider it to be logical?
yeah, because if you haven't found, how can you hold someone accountable who hasn't found? Let's say you're living your life, you see the evidence, you doubt the evidence you've been confronted with, but you can't say you've looked at every evidence of God or gods in every civilization. I can't make that claim. I can't presume there is no God, so I still think it's a logical.
Right, okay. But then if we follow the reasoning we just adopted,
Yeah,
if a person makes a claim,
yeah,
the claim was I'm a robot.
yeah,
You ask questions about my claim,
yeah.
and I couldn't provide the evidence to substantiate my claim.
Yeah.
Am I being logical?
No, you're being illogical.
Yeah.
5 minutes, I think we need
Okay.
to wrap up. It's
5
very,
minutes.
very, very
Yeah, I
short.
know.
We need to-
And we need to fly. Yeah.
250 miles at the moment.
5 minutes, yeah.
Long distance.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So, is it logical?
No, it's still illogical.
My position is illogical.
Yes.
I am only now translating what I am saying into the position of me being an atheist claiming what I'm claiming.
I think there's a slight gap though.
Great stuff. Tell me what it is.
Well, because that claim of being a robot is a positive claim of being something, of claiming something. An atheist is saying, I'm not sure if something is true or not. It's a neutral claim.
Are they saying they are not sure, or are they saying positively that there is no evidence for God?
No, I think they're not saying there is. I think there's two definitions of atheist from
Yeah.
what I've seen.
Okay.
I reject the one that says, I am not the one that says there is no evidence for God or
Yeah.
God does not exist.
A lack of belief in God.
The one, that's the claim I mean. So you could say that's a
Right.
transitional claim. Or
Now,
you could say it's a temporary
I
claim.
have no problem.
Yeah.
If we were to say that, look, we currently think
Yeah.
that the available evidence is not sufficient for us to positively assert that there is a creator,
Yeah.
I would necessarily agree. The problem is not there. The problem is what we had already addressed. If you have not confronted the evidence, you've not established evidentially the position you hold, that is illogical.
I think we're going around in circles, or I don't understand.
Okay. To go around in circles is to say the same thing, come back, say the same thing. I'm not. All I'm saying.
maybe I am.
No. What we are saying here is this. If I take a position, whatever X position, yeah, X,
Yes.
and you ask me for the evidence for why I hold X position,
Yes.
and I say to you, look, no. It's not about the evidence. This is the position I hold.
Yeah.
In absence of evidence. Is that logical?
It's not logical, but I think there's a.
Not. Let's follow through.
Okay.
Now look, I'm doing exactly the same, except now I'm using the word atheism. It's still illogical.
I think that there's something missing when you make the move.
Please tell me what it is.
Well, because it's kind of like saying, if you go back, for example, if I use an example, so let's say that when we didn't know that the Earth was spherical.
Okay.
Let's say there were people who thought the Earth was a disc, a flat disc.
Yeah, there are still some people who think that, yes.
Let's just, if I just make up an imaginary example where there were some other people who said that it's half a sphere, that we're on a disc and there's like a curve at the bottom or something. And you have not yet looked at the evidence for a spherical, the person who's going to tell you that it's spherical.
Yeah.
I think it's logical to say you don't know what shape the Earth is. You're not sure if it's flat, you're not sure if it's what the other person's saying. The person who's convinced you that it's spherical, you haven't been confronted with that evidence in the way he would present it.
Yeah.
So what would you do in that situation? Well, you would say, at the moment, I lack belief in XYZ. I haven't...
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
For me, it's
I understand.
not an illogical position to be.
But I would suggest, if I were to take the view you just took, if there were two competing parties to a particular claim, you will notice that you can either hold that position in absence of evidence, or you can try and seek out the evidence to prove either one or the other. Isn't that so?
Sorry, one more time?
Okay. You know the two competing ones, the flat Earth, the flat disc or spherical, okay? You can hold that claim and hold that position in absence of evidence, or you can confirm that there is a claim being made from one or either of the parties, and you seek the evidence to establish which one is the one that you should hold in terms of evidence, the position that you should hold. If the evidence shows clearly it's a sphere, would you dispense with the claim of the guy who says it's a flat disc? Why?
Because you have evidence to believe
because you've got the evidence. The question we have been asking, which seems like we are going round and round, is that if you have not even considered the evidence, can you still hold that position? And if you can, is it logical?
You mean if I've considered both sides' evidence and I doubt both of them?
No, you haven't even considered any evidence, but you hold a position. Would that be logical?
So I haven't looked at both sides' evidence.
You haven't looked at the evidence, but you hold your position. Is that logical?
Yeah. If my position is that I don't know what shape the Earth is, it's a logical position to be.
Excellent. If I tell you, look, there may be evidence which will establish whether it is or it is not, what should you do?
Well, I would check your evidence.
You check the evidence, isn't it? Question I'm asking is that if, in absence of evidence, you hold a position, it's illogical, especially if the evidence is available for you to establish its veracity. Isn't that an illogical position to hold? You can't say no, can you?
I think it's more complicated because the situation I'm in is, let's say I've looked at both situations, the flat, I know I got to go soon. The flat and the spherical, and it's not enough evidence, or I doubt it. So my position would still be, I don't know what shape the Earth is. That would still be
okay, I understand. Now I see your position. Yeah, if you did that, okay, not a problem.
It's possible that someone could come up to me who believes the Earth is spherical, and give me more compelling evidence.
Right, good. I would suggest, and hopefully we'll break here. Yeah, we are finishing now. Yeah, but what I can do, Kashif, inshallah. My view is simple, that the evidence is available.
Of course.
And that evidence is contained within the Quran.
Yeah, we never got to it. But
what we can do, inshallah, we are probably back in 2 weeks. Yeah, or whenever we come, inshallah. If you don't mind, we can proceed with that. And look at the evidence and see whether it covers, or rather it fulfills the criteria that we will decide on beforehand.
I mean, we veered away from morality and the prerequisites also.
So we will deal with those, inshallah. No, it's just one of those. But it's always a pleasure
It
seeing
was nice
you,
to
brother.
talk to you.
Likewise.
Very
You look
cool.
after yourself,
It was-
inshallah.
It's a lot of knowledge.
Of course, inshallah.
It's
No,
good
no,
to
we
talk to
will. And then next time we meet up, we will start on the Quran and let's see whether the evidence is available.
you. Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Look after yourself, Kashif, inshallah. Okay.